Hello, 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 District 9. Good morning, good morning. It is back to school season. I am so excited that you are here. If you are just joining me for the first time, I am Lolita E. Walker. You can tell I'm just a little bit hoarse, but you're going to hear me live. If you have questions, then you can definitely type it in live to Facebook or on YouTube. And today I'm so excited to be welcoming Ms. Dolores Britt Millhouse, who is not only the vice chair of PCAC, but she's also a constituent right in District 7, which is where our vice chair, Dr. Kenneth Harris, represents. Good morning, Ms. Millhouse. How are you this morning?
Good morning. I'm well. Thank you.
Oh, good, good. So, District 9, listen, District 9 and beyond, because we want you to be able to forward this amazing information out. Today, we're going to be talking about all things back to school, and we're also just going to be talking about PCAC in general. So, before we get started, Miss Millhouse, why don't you tell us a little bit about what PCAC is, why it's important, and then we'll go from there.
Okay, thank you. So, PCAC stands for the Parent Community Advisory Council, and it is I want to say it's a combination of engaged parents who are collaborating with representatives from the community who are representatives from faith-based, the business community, civic engagement, nonprofit, or a union representative for the various unions in PGCPS. And by law, it states that the school district is to have a group of individuals that represent various aspects of the community that the board represents to make sure that the voices are heard. And so if you think about the parent teacher organizations, it's a little bit like that, but it is elevated to the point that we're just not focused on what's happening in our district. We collaborate to identify what's happening for the school system as a whole. So as advisors, we work with the board administration, we work with the school administration to really identify where some of the blind spots that they may have as it relates to the goals, right, for the year. What's the outlook that you all have for the year? And how do we support giving the perspective from the parent, giving the community's perspective? But what we have to do is we have to work very closely with our individual board members. Because the reality is the board member is there to elevate the voice of the constituents. So what we do is help make sure that that board member knows how to kind of engage in their community, who they really need to be bringing in, and really making sure when they sit on that dais and they send a vote out, that that vote is representative of the communities that they serve. So that's what we do. We advise.
Yes, absolutely. And I love that you talked about that. I put on the screen here the District 9 PCAP representative for us is Mrs. Sade Davis. And I think one of the
That's great.
important things is, sometimes I think parents just get really nervous about what does this commitment look like. We're all busy. We're all
Mhm,
doing all of the things. So maybe you could talk about as a parent yourself, and you have scholars inside of the system,
mhm.
how do you kind of balance it all? And I believe that if we all do a small piece, then guess what? Everything is
Mhm.
going to get done. So give me your perspective on that.
So we hear a lot about engagement, right? We hear about people need to be more engaged. And I think that word is very overused. It's abused in so many different ways, right? And so when we think about engagement, it's not always me having to be present in the place. I don't have to be physically there. We meet as a PCAC as a whole once a month for about an hour to 2 hours, right? And so it's already set. The schedule is very clear. It's usually the first Wednesday of the month at 7 p.m. Our meetings are virtual, but what happens is what happens outside of those meetings. Now, I, as an executive member of PCAC, we also then have additional meetings that we meet with the superintendent, we meet with the board executive team, and then we also meet with the liaisons. So, as an executive member of PCAC, I may meet on a monthly basis about 10 hours a month. And the reality is, with my board member, we meet about 4 hours a week. So so that's already 16 hours. So for the month, I'm about 26 to maybe 30 hours for the month. Um, but if we also are engaging with some of the different chiefs in their departments, then those are additional meetings where we are able to kind of give our perspective on what may be happening with transportation, some things that they need to pay attention to. So it really is, if you can identify finding an hour a month, right? And then identifying how often you're going to meet with your district member, right? So realistically, maybe 5 hours for the whole month, what you may need to really be active, because we're not just sitting here just meeting. We are looking at policies and procedures so we can understand how to and what to advise on.
Yeah, yeah, I think that's good. So for the public, if you're just joining us, then I'm here with Ms. Dolores Britt Millhouse, who's the vice chair of one of our advisory committees for the board, which is PCAC. And she's really talking here about parental engagement, what that looks like, feels like, and what they're responsible for. So, just to give you a sense of, especially if you're a new parent, some ways that you can get involved. Let's just start there. Some ways you can get involved definitely at the local level of your child's school. Back to school is a perfect time. Get involved with your PTA and your parent organizations, whether it's PTA, PTO, but ask about tell me about the parental engagement that's here. Where is that organization? So that's one way to get involved. And just as Ms. Millhouse just stated, is sometimes I think people get overwhelmed at what is this commitment going to be, but you don't always have to just be there. Sometimes it's financial, sometimes it's helping in a classroom, sometimes it's so many things, but you get together, find out what the common issues, concerns, or even the wins are, and your voice can be heard.
Hmm.
Another way
Yeah.
is to, oh, go ahead. Were you going to add to that?
No, I said I'm just in agreement. Yes.
Yes. So that's at that local level. You can also decide to come to board meetings. And I think that that's really underutilized, to be honest.
Hmm.
At our board meetings, you can come in and you have up to 3 minutes to talk about any issue. It could actually be, hey, I think my school's doing an amazing job, and I wanted to tell you about one of the engagement opportunities there. Or guess what the PTA is doing? We just wanted somebody to hear what our organization is. And then sometimes it might be a concern that you want board members to hear or the administration to hear, so that they can make sure that as we continue planning and decision making, that those things are top of mind. So those are some ways you can absolutely get involved. And the reason I wanted to talk to you all about PCAC so early on is because guess what? We have an event coming up. And I want to show that. One second. Share screen. Okay, one second.
And while you're sharing the screen, if I can just
Mm-hmm,
also add,
mm-hmm.
as it relates to the, testifying at the board, I've been at the business of advocacy, public education advocacy for 14 years. And like Chair Walker mentioned, your presence at the board meetings have a very huge impact on what's happening in our school system. And I want parents to know, even if you cannot show up in person, you can send a video message. You can write the letter, but at least have someone from your school, the parent group at your school, to show up at least once a month, right? To just say, hey, things are going well, and this is what we consistently need from you to continue to make sure that things continue on the right track. You don't want to just wait till there's a problem. Let people know who you are. My presence was felt very early. So then when I began to have issues and concerns, they already knew my style. They knew that I would come in, state what the issue was, identify reasonable solutions, talk about what I could do as a partner, and then ask a simple question. Now, what are you all going to do? Right.
And I think another thing is too, Ms. Millhouse, is let's say that there's a parent that's looking on and for some reason their parent organization isn't up and going, or they might be going through some transition at this time, which happens as well. How can they get in touch with PCAC? What's the email address, or where should they go?
The email address is pcac at pgcps.org. And I just want to remind individuals, we are parent volunteers. We do not work for PGCPS. We do not get a stipend for PGCPS. We do not get any reimbursement for our time, our mileage. We don't get any of that. All right. We are really doing this because we believe in it. And so if you email the PCAC box, give us grace in responding back to the email, but know that we are an advisory group. Because what we will do is we will advise you and help direct you on where you need to go to get the answer for the questions that you may send in. And so I caution all of our PCAC members all the time that we are not the voice of PGCPS, right? We are sitting in this role and capacity. And when I take this hat off and I go back in the role as mom, as education advocate, then I can do different things. But from a PCAC perspective, it really is to make sure that we advise in all groups, right? And so we may not have the answer, but we know how to get to the answer. And
Mm-hmm.
so that's the best way to get to us. PCEC.
Okay, that's great. And this reminds me now, I think what I want to do as well is to share what all of the ad hoc committees are. So let me just share that on my screen really quickly. Because PCAC is only one of our advisory committees for the Board of Education. So let me just present that. Um, Here it is. So let's share that. All right, can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, excellent. So we have a number of standing committees. We're going to say that first. These are board standing committees. So when I say board standing committees, the Board of Education has committees that are board led, and only board members can be a part of these because we care about these topics just as much as you do. And also, you are able to have public comment, written comment, or video comment for each of these as well. So we have Academic and Achievement Committee, which the chair is Madeline Lasai Frazier from District 8. We have Policy and Governance Committee, which meets on Tuesdays at 5 p.m. Not every week. You need to go ahead on to pgcps.org and click on board, and you can see all of these there as well. We have uh, the Board Audit Committee, which has been revamped and re-energized for this particular year. Brandon Jackson is over that committee there with Pamela Boozer Strother. We have Operations, Budget, and Fiscal Affairs Committee, which is chaired by Ms. Shayla Adams Stafford and co-chaired by Dr. Kenneth Harris, who's also the vice chair of the Board of Education. Now, we do also have ad hoc committee meetings. And this is one of the ones is Parent and Community Advisory Council, which that's what Ms. Millhouse is the vice chair of. Now, don't forget that these are not led by um, this is an advisory council, so it's its own standing council, and then it has board liaisons here. So our board liaison is Madeline Lasai Frazier and Dr. Kenneth Harris. We also have another advisory group, which is the Disabilities Issues Advisory Board, and that's led by Shayla Adams Stafford. They're also looking for members at this time. So if you follow me on any of my platforms and you've seen how you can go ahead and click that link to be considered for an application. We also have our PGCPS District Steering Committee for Community Schools, which Mr. Jonathan Briggs leads, and we have our Climate Change Action Plan Ad Hoc Committee as well. And I wanted to share that because sometimes um, we don't realize all that's happening in the background, but I think it's also important to talk about the advisory pieces. And we have two of those advisory committees, which is this one here, PCAC, and we also have our Disabilities Issue Advisory Council as well. The last thing I'll do before, and Ms. Millhouse can definitely stay as I go through all of the things, but while I have her attention here, she's like, okay, no, I'm here for a limited time. I wanted to talk about this upcoming parent community summit, which I have in District 9. This will be the fourth parent community summit. I'm really excited about it. And the beauty this time is that I'm also partnering with District 7 and District 8, which are neighboring to District 9. And I wanted to tell you all about that and one of our amazing topics. Ms. Millhouse is here for us. So one sec. present. Let me share my screen. Okay, here we go. All right, here we are saving the date. Saving the date. Let me make it a little larger. This save the date is for September 21st. If you're looking on now and you're in here, you know that we meet as a group here for the community chat every third Saturday. So for the third Saturday in September, we won't be meeting virtually. Instead, we'll be meeting in person. And it will is this is the save the date. For that, I will be posting it on all of the socials, and there is an RSVP here. Why is an RSVP important? It's because we want to hear the topics and the questions that you have in advance. We want to make sure that there's enough food. We want to see who's going to be there, how we're representing the things that's most important to you. So the fourth District 9 Parent Community Summit is with neighboring Districts 7 and 8, plus our student member of the board, Jamal Jongo, which is a student of Frederick Douglass High School, which is in District 9. So we're excited to be able to partner with him as well. We'll have food and clothing giveaways. Myself, board members Harris, which I talked about before, who's also the vice chair. He represents District 7. And District 8 is Madeline Lasai Frazier. And of course, our student member of the board. You see everyone's faces here. And we're going to be bringing in topics that we've heard from each of you all. The first topic that we're going to have is leveraging your voice, navigating PGCPS plus parental engagement. And when I stop sharing the screen, I'll have Ms. Millhouse just talk in general about why it's so important, particularly as our new parents, but even as our ongoing parents, about navigating PGCPS, what that means, and then what you're going to be talking to the community about. The second thing we're going to be talking about is navigating and learning around testing and support. Now, there's always a lot of questions around testing. So we want to talk about the strategy in Prince George's County, and we'll be talking about how you can support your scholars through the testing that we do have. And then lastly, we'll be talking about building and maintaining futures. So what does school construction and improvements look like in District 9, in District 8, in District 7 for the southern pieces, as well as how do we make decisions around, new buildings? What does that look like? So come on out to talk about all of those things. Let me stop sharing because we are going to, the way it's set up, if you've never been to one of my sessions, in person sessions, is that we'll have not only resources, we'll have resources about math, about ELA, about legal aid, all of the things that parents want to know but just don't know that they're available. We'll have folks there. We also are going to be giving away food from Ernie's Place, who's an amazing resource across Prince George's County, for those that need groceries. Every attendee will get a grocery bag. We'll also be having clothes from Good Intentions Foundation, another amazing nonprofit inside of Prince George's County. They'll be giving away clothing here as well. So I'm gonna take a pause. And Ms. Millhouse, I'd love for you to just share, when we think about navigating PGCPS, what does that mean from the Parent and Community Advisory Committee?
So it really means, I think of it like you enter a new place, and if you had a map, right? It's pretty easy to kind of guide you. You are here. Like you go to the mall, like, oh, I need to find a store, and it shows you are here, right? Um, we don't particularly have that in PGCPS, right? And so, what PCAC is really working with the school system on is providing a guide. So, if I come in as a new parent, right, I'm here, kindergarten, I'm excited, but I'm also nervous, and it can be very overwhelming. I need a guide to kind of help me move through what are some of the first things that I need to do. I must have done something right if I'm now my child is enrolled, because that's the trickiest part, right? Getting a student ID. But now that I'm here, what does it look like to develop those relationships and to really have a parental engagement strategy for my household in place? And we really want to make sure that we take the overwhelming and the anxiety away from the parent to say, hey, we're going to help guide you. Here's a guide that helps jumpstart your engagement as well as help you stay engaged. And so it's going to be quick, it's going to be easy, it's going to be clean. We believe in like one pages, right? Give me something simple, a checklist. I don't want to be overwhelmed. And we don't want to overwhelm the parent, right? And so it doesn't matter whether you're kindergarten or 12th grade, but in each phase, it always is something new. Like my child is going to high school this year. And I'm like, okay, I had middle school figured out. Now I got to start all over, right? So imagine what the child feels like, right? So when you have everyone in the household with anxiety, so I look at PCAC as our role is that we're helping with the social and emotional, right? Acclimation component for parents that you don't have to be overwhelmed. And if you are, you're not alone, right? Because we're all coming in with some level of jitters. So it's just really giving us an opportunity to just help parents. Here's a roadmap. This is how you get there.
Yeah, I love that because we've been saying overwhelmed a lot, but I'll tell you that PGCPS is a large system and there's a lot of resources, there's a lot of information, there's a lot of people, parents around the communities where you live. So taking in all that information and really deciphering, okay, what is important for me now, and then help me with the resources that might exist so I'll be able to tap in is so important. And I love that we're talking about parental engagement. I remember when I ran for office in 2022, I remember saying one of my big goals is around parental engagement. And it's because my parents were PTA parents. And I remember them galvanizing and talking about how they wanted to see things shift in the school. And I'll tell you that there's power, as you know, in a community with a single voice being able to
Mhm.
come and say, hey, and work with the administration of that school. So I want to thank you for what it is that you're doing, the entire PCAC, because as you said, this is voluntary. You don't
Mhm.
have to be here. But we care about our parents, and at not even only at the PCAC level, but also at your local school level is so important. So
Mhm.
find a way to get engaged. Everybody that's typing in, if you have questions or comments, you can feel free to type them in, and we'll try to answer them live. If I don't know the answer, I'm not nervous to say I don't know, but I'll get back
Mhm.
to you. So thank you, Miss Millhouse. You can feel free to stay or you can hang out and enjoy your Saturday.
Yeah, well, I appreciate it. I'm a hang out and well, no, not hang out. I'm gonna go hang out in my house
Right.
and decorate my child's room. But I just want to give a kudos to our incoming chair, Miss Teresa Smith, who has also been very impactful in getting the disability advisory group
Mhm.
back up and going because it was not right enacted, and so the work that she's been doing. And it's great to have other parents, like you said. We are a community, so let's find out people. Let's connect and let's make things happen, no matter what district we live in. Thank you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, thank you so much. I'll see you later and thanks for coming. Okay, bye bye. So we're going to keep on going, you guys, because I want to share all of the amazingness that's happening around District 9 and some of the things that'll get you going for for back to school. Okay. All right. Let me share my screen. And what I'm going to be sharing with each of you all today is my latest newsletter. So if you're not getting my newsletter, let me tell you the ways that you can do that. You can go into, I'm pretty sure I already have it typed up somewhere. 1 second. Let me just type it. It is bit.ly/district9news. So the first thing you want to do is go ahead and sign up for District 9 News. You can go to, I have it on the screen, bit.ly/district, the number 9 in news. Okay, just go ahead and type that in, and it's going to take you to School Messenger. What you're going to do there is sign up, and you'll have, after you sign up, it tells you how to do it. You'll have an opportunity to check off all of what you want to get information for. For instance, me, I register to get everybody's newsletter because I think sometimes I might not have everything inside of my newsletter. You might see something in another district that's really something that you want to go to. You might have a scholar that's interested in, let's say, the performing arts, and you might see something that's happening at Suitland or around Suitland with that program that you want to go to. Well, if you're not signed up for any news that the board member might push out because that might be inside of their newsletter, then this will be an opportunity for you to find out. Also, I had a parent ask me this before is what if my child is interested in a certain high school? How can I start getting involved with that high school? Well, you do just that. The parent engagement. You can join PTAs and PTOs as a community member. There's so many different things. You can go to that school's website and see do they have any performances or is there anything there that can help to delve you into that school and the culture of that school and all of the things. So you absolutely have the opportunity to do that. And sometimes it's just asking a question that helps other parents or other community members be able to say, hey, this is what I did and it was really successful. Okay. All right. Let me share my screen and I'm going to walk you all through my latest newsletter. Here it is. Now, my newsletter is like 20 to 30 something pages, but um, some of them are pictures of what's happening. So let me make it a little larger. Typically, what happens is that I have a greeting to each of you all, and on the front page, it talks about what all my District 9 schools are, which you already know if you're in District 9, but if not, you can see the other schools that are in our districts. Also, we on the left-hand side right here, you can see if you want to provide testimony at board meetings, when our next board meeting is when the committees, those four standing committees are that we have, as well as any ad hoc meetings that are happening this month. Here, Dr. Kenneth Harris is the vice chair, elected vice chair, and I am the elected chair. And so that's another way to start the year and to find out what's happening with changes for the Board of Education. As I mentioned, we're super excited in District 9 specifically because our student board member is Jamal Jongo of Frederick Douglass High School. I'll have him on one of the chats so you all can meet him in the future so he could talk about some of the things that he's really excited about and how our scholars can get involved right at the school level, which is always so exciting to me. We have 10 folks now on our board. So if you remember, we had a hybrid board, which means that we had appointed members and we had elected members. And there was a team of 14 of us, which included our student member of the board. So now in this newsletter, what I'm doing is I'm reintroducing you to the board members per district that represent you. And you can see here, you'll be able to go through, see who the person is, a picture of them, as well as what other committees they sit on. Um, I don't know what happened here. We're gonna just keep going. Oh, this is when I spoke to welcome. Oh, I don't know what happened right there. But this is when I spoke to welcome our new teachers. Did you know that we have over 500 new teachers that we welcomed into Prince George's County? They might be from another county and have been teaching for some time. Some people have moved and they're brand new teachers, just graduated, and they're so excited. So I had the opportunity to go and speak to those new teachers, and that was really exciting. This is Nia right here. She graduated with me at Morgan State University, and I'm so excited that she's in the system and is progressing very well. I happened to see her when I um, went to speak. Now let's talk about this Stop Finder app. If you have the newsletter, then this is additional news for you. But for those of you all who have not yet signed up, make sure, parents, that you're signing up for the Stop Finder app. Okay. So go into your phone, go into the apps, and download Stop Finder app, especially if your child is taking transportation. It allows you to see and be notified of the bus routes themselves. And also, we want you to sign up for it's called Geo Alerts as well. So you can get alerts inside of the system for Stop Finder. So be sure to tell your parent friends, download the Stop Finder app if their children are going to be riding the buses, okay? Also, we want you to sign up for Parent View. Don't forget that School Max is fading out and now we're into Parent View. So make sure you sign up for that. If you get this newsletter, then you'll be able to just click on the link. There are transportation community information sessions that are happening. We just had one in District 9. This was in District 8, but it was for the southern part, which was at Oxon Hill High School on the 15th, which just passed. We also, I have some back to school drive and dash that's happening today at Oxon Hill High School from 9 a.m. to noon. Go ahead and get some school supplies. That's happening today in 30 minutes. Okay. And it goes until noon, and you'll be able to get supplies as long as they're lasting. We have our student orientation day on 8/23. So I'm not going to go through everything. I'm just showing you some of the things that's in the newsletter and why it's important to. This is one way to stay connected. As I mentioned earlier, we talked about the Disabilities Issues Advisory Board. For our this population, we're always seeking to do more, and this is a way that you can definitely get involved. You can go on pgcps.org and just search Disability Issues Advisory Board, and you can apply there. If you get my newsletter, you'll be able to apply right here. We're looking for additional advocacy and support for this amazing population, so we'd love for you to get involved. If you're looking now, then you already know how to watch, subscribe, and share. But this is just letting you know that there's ways that you can always join these community chats, okay? Next, our board meeting. Our next board meeting is August the 29th. You can watch it on YouTube Live. You can sign up for in-person public comments. As Ms. Millhouse said earlier, you can also give written statements or video public comments that are all sent to board members and the administration as well. So you always have an opportunity to stay involved. We are hiring. Okay. I just mentioned to you that we had 500, over 500 new teachers, classroom teachers that we're really excited about. There's new bus drivers that's coming on, dedicated aides, registered school nurses, et cetera, et cetera. So make sure that you stay involved. If you know someone who's looking for a job, we would love to have them in PGCPS. We have an upcoming bus drivers in person um, recruitment event, which is happening August 21st. And then you can go ahead and go to pgcps.org for any careers that you're interested in. Um, let's see, parent view support, just lots of awesome information. I'm going to pause here because, as you know, the bell schedules are changing, so we could be a little more efficient. We have 3 bell times now, which is 7:30, 8:30, and 9:30. So for instance, my child attends a school that started at 9:15 previously. So it goes from 9:15 to a 9:30 bell time. And this is important for you to know. So if you haven't gotten this, make sure you sign up. This is all the schools that's in District 9. Right here, it tells you, for instance, Accokeek Academy used to start at 9:15 a.m. It's starting at 9:30 now. It used to get out at 3:55. It's getting out now at 4:10. Okay, so you just go through here, you find your school, see when was the original one and when is the new one. You'll also be getting your bus schedules coming soon as well. This year, your bus, don't forget, you can opt out of transportation. So make sure you do that as well. If your student is a walker, if you a student is a rider, you take your student to school every day, then you can opt out so that we can also, we being the administration, not the Board of Education, the Prince George's County Administration and Transportation Department will go through that to optimize our bus routes as well. You'll have an opportunity here just to delve in. And again, parents, I know I have one child, and I know when he started coming into the system, there's so many different resources, so you don't know what to do. Inside this newsletter, every single month, I have a step-by-step guide on how you resolve concerns that you may have, and you can click on any of these in order to do that. We have a homeless population, maintenance, 504 plans, discipline transfers. All of those things are really important. Last month on this chat, we had a question. And one of the things about questions inside of this environment is if I have a question and we answer it there, that's amazing. But if I'm unable to answer it and it's something from the administration, then I take that question and I come back to you. I post it in Facebook and on Instagram, and I also have it inside of my um, District 9 newsletters. And here's one. And this was about the E's and C's in a grading policy. So I was able to go back and also find out information. So this is inside the newsletter. You all can go through and read that. There is a task force that's reconvening for the grading task force because clearly there's more work that needs to be done. Although there has been some enhancements on the grading policy, but I'll get back to you when that task force reconvenes and we have additional information. Let's see what else we have. I talked to you all earlier about the save the date for September 21st, 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. I have these District 9 Parent Community Summits, which I absolutely love. Getting in touch with the community. This is when the community can come out, your voices can be heard. We talk about three key topics. And this year, I'm partnering with neighboring District 7 and 8, as well as the student board member, to bring this to you. What does it look like? When you come in, it's a panel discussion, but there's also so many amazing resources that are there. Tables for ELA literacy, tables for math, tutoring. Legal aid has been there before. We've also had the eyeglass folks that's there in order to take prescriptions. I don't know that they'll be there this time, but you always just got to stay tapped in, and we'd love to see you. We're talking about three key topics this time, which is navigating PGCPS and parental engagement. We'll have a representative from PCAC that is there with us. We had Ms. Millhouse on earlier, who was able to talk to us about some of what they're going to be presenting on. And your questions will be answered right there live. Next, we'll be talking about testing and how can you support your scholar. And finally, we'll be talking about building and maintaining our futures with school construction and improvements that's happening right here in District 7, 8, and 9. And we'll have someone from the administration that is there to help walk us through how decisions are made, how choices are being made, whether it's new schools or maintenance that's happening inside of our areas. Synergy is in implementation phase, so we have you registering now. Don't forget that we used to have School Max, we don't anymore. So you need to activate your code to create your Synergy account so that then you can get your Parent View account up and running. That is how we're going to find out all information. Make sure you put your contact information there so that when PGCPS does these robocalls, that your phone number is coming to your phone. If there's any emergencies that happen, you want to make sure you get a call. Make sure your email address is on there so you can get all of the information that comes through. Also, in my newsletter, I have how you can get math tutoring, live tutoring, Dreambox interventions. I ready for mathematics. If this is all new information for you, then make sure you are going on pgcps.org because all things are there. And also signing up for your district's newsletter. When you want to volunteer at your child's school, you have to have a fingerprint and background check. So let's get that done early. You can click here to be able to do that. And also, it just talks about joining PTA, PTO. If I am attending anything and I think that there's some cool information happening or some cool things happening inside of District 9 that'll be value added for our parents, then I make sure that I put this in. This is the Akakeek Foundation. Guys, it's beautiful there. They're doing so much work. They have a program with our seventh graders across the district. It's just so amazing. So I'll try to put information in if I'm able to go somewhere. And one thing that you do see is I'm always saying this is how you can get involved: in-person meetings, virtual meetings, public testimony. And so that'll be throughout here as well. If I ever come across service hours, make sure you're staying in. We put out a call for District 9 and our scholars throughout to come out to National Night Out. And listen, you all showed up. So those scholars that showed up got community service hours. It just was a great time in our community. Okay. Our commitment statement for the Board of Education. And listen, the point is sign up and you'll get all this wonderful information. Okay. I wanted to give you an example of what that looked like so you make sure that you're not missing any information as well. Okay. I know I went through that very quickly, everyone. It's 15 minutes till the time of the hour where we normally stop. But I don't see any, if you have comments, I don't see any comments that anyone has made that I need to answer live. So we don't stay just to stay. But I just want to remind you that you can always get involved. It's back to school. Some things that's important. Don't forget for our high schoolers, these clear book bags are important. If you're new to our district, high schoolers, you need to make sure you have, go to your website. That's what you do. Go to your website for your school. Make sure you're very familiar with that website. There's so many school specific things that happen, whether it's back to school nights. Make sure you're there. Those are already out for dates. Uniforms, the policy for uniforms, what color the uniforms are, how you get involved with your school. Sign up for your PTA and your PTOs. If there's not one there, talk about how can we get one started. Make sure you're reaching out and staying connected. That's the biggest thing for back to school. Make sure your scholars are set up right. You want to understand your tutoring. How's my scholar going to get tutored? What's the bus schedule? For District 9, it's already out. I put it out. If you're not following me on Instagram, let me put that there. Uh, Instagram.com/Lolita for Yes. So here's Instagram right here. Oh no, hold on, it's not that. It's Lolita for PGCPS D9. There you go. But if you put Lolita for PGCPS D9 in Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, then you'll be able to get to those three options for me and keep up with all things District 9. Okay. All right. Well, listen, this is a replay. So if you found anything interesting or something that is going to help you to be able to navigate Prince George's County, save the date, September 21st. We would normally be gathering virtually here. Nope. We're going to be in person. And the location is to be determined. I should have that locked next week. But the save the date is ready. I'm going to post that today. So make sure you put it in your calendar. September 21st is a Saturday from 9 a.m. to 1, and we'll just be talking. We'll be talking, and those three topics. We'll have a panel discussion. You come up with your questions, you get those answered. There'll be resources that are there. We'll have groceries. We'll have giveaway for clothes. We'll have a really good time. So I can't wait to see you guys there. Make sure you forward this out. And I want to thank Ms. Millhouse for coming this morning for PCAC. I want to say congratulations to Teresa Smith, who is the incoming president for PCAC. You also can get involved with our Disabilities Issues Advisory Committee. And I showed everybody all of the standing committees that we have right here on the Board of Education and how you can look in, listen in, and be able to share out. There is one comment. Oh, Ms. Millhouse said, thank you very much. All right. And the chair is Teresa Smith. Excellent. I hope I said Teresa Smith's name. I don't know if I did, but I hope I did. So, Teresa Smith, thank you very much for your partnership and congratulations once again. All right. Bye, you guys. Have a great day.